Greetings, Toiletarians. I'm your host, Toilet Terry, and you guys are all watching Toilet Talk with Terry. That's me, obviously. The discussion topic for this episode is people saying off-color things. Interesting. I once heard a story of this guy named Willie. You see, my grandfather's office firm, which was mostly comprised of white people, had a black janitor who was really short. His name was Willie. And one day, Mikey, who was an alcoholic, spotted Willie in the janitor's closet. But it was kind of hard to spot him because it was dark in there and, you know, his race. Mikey says to Willie, "Hey, why don't you smile so we can actually see you?" See? That's an off-color comment right there. I don't care who you are. One time when I was a kid, I may have mentioned this in one of my previous videos. I don't remember. This was actually how I found out about my Asperger's syndrome. I was diagnosed at age 4, and then at age 9, I said something really off-color. And then my mother explained to me, "Here's why you said that. You have Asperger's syndrome." I'm going to tell you what I said. So, I went through several periods of my life. There was the Transformers period, the Bear in the Big Blue House period, the Doodlebops period, the Cat in the Hat period. Yes, the Cat in the Hat period was going on. I was 9 years old, like I said before. I was so obsessed with the Cat in the Hat that one time when my grandmother came over to, I don't know what she was doing at the house, but I was dressed like the Cat in the Hat when I came to the door to greet her and let her in. She was like, "Why on earth are you dressed like that? What are you wearing?" And I was like, "I'm the Cat in the Hat." She's like, "Oh." And I'm like, "You don't read Dr. Seuss?" Mm-hmm. And so then she notices a lump right on my crotch. She's like, "What on earth is that lump?" And she has the most disgusted look on her face. Like, "Do you have a boner?" Or anyway, so then I pull this stuffed Cat in the Hat figurine out of my pants, because that's what the lump was. She's like, "What are you doing putting a figurine in your pants?" And this is where I make the crude comment. I said to her, "That's supposed to be the cat's wiener." And my mother was like, "Oh, go sit in the corner right now." I was like, "Why? What did I say?" And then my grandma chimes in, "Go to the corner. Do what your mother says." I'm like, okay, no, okay. Anywho, then my mother explains to me, "When you were 4, you were diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and sometimes kids with Asperger's, yak, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah." I forget. But yeah, I made a lot of really off-color and uncalled for comments as a kid. That was the one that finally got my mom to crack and tell me about Asperger's, but I made several before that. For example, one time, we were calling my grandmother Bibi to wish her a happy birthday. I must have been like 7 or 8 or 9 years old. Probably 8, if you will. But it went to voicemail. She didn't answer, so we sent her a voicemail saying, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you." Or wait, no. We actually sang, "Happy birthday to you, you live in a zoo. You look like our BB," because that's what we call her, BB. "And you smell like her too, like roses." And my mom was like, "Happy birthday, BB. Sorry we couldn't actually reach you, but when you get this voicemail, call us back. Love you, bye." And when she's in the middle of saying "love you, bye," just to be funny, hoping BB hears it, my sister, her name's Annabelle, for those of y'all who don't already know. While mom's saying, "I love you," or "we love you, bye," I say, "Annabelle, did you fart?" And then mom hangs up the phone. She looks at me and she's like, "I could slap you right now." And I mean, seriously, come on, lady, lighten up and get a sense of humor. BB's not gonna care. The most crude comment I ever made, though, the most crude statement I ever made was when I was 20 years old at the dinner table. You see, I had just come home from college, and I was telling my parents about, things about college and everything. Recently at college, me and the boys in my dorm were watching Jeopardy on TV, and every time this boy named Lucas got an answer right, he would do this. And when I was telling my parents that story, here's what I said, verbatim. I said to them, "And every time Lucas would get an answer right, he would do the air hump." That sounded a lot less weird in my head. When my mom heard that, she was like, she nearly spit out her food laughing, and she buried her head in her arms for like a minute. That was the most crude comment I ever made in my life. However, I'm not the only one I know who makes crude comments or can be crude sometimes, or off color, crude, whatever you want to call it. Suggestive, I don't know. My Aunt Donna, she believes that the CIA or the FBI, most notably probably the CIA, spies on you through cameras that are embedded in your TV in your living room. So she does something really off color. Whenever she's in the living room and she's alone, she'll look at the TV, she'll pull down her drawers, and she'll moon the TV, thinking she's mooning a security camera. And she says to them, "Y'all can kiss my white butt." If that's not off color, I don't know what is, folks. This isn't really as much an off color comment as it is just me saying, or what people would refer to as people saying the darndest things. But one time, my friend from college, JJ, and I were about to leave the dorms to go eat, and my underwear was hanging on the doorknob. I was like, "Are you ready to go, JJ?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, I was born ready." And then he walks towards the door and spots my underwear on the doorknob. He's like, What? What's that?" And then I'm like, "That's my undies." I also knew some kids back in elementary school who would They wouldn't really make crude or off-color comments on things, but they would say the darndest things. Like, there was a backyard over the fence in the back in the playground in the back of our school. Like, there's the playground, then there's a fence, and on the other end of the fence, there's a backyard with dogs. And the dogs were always barking at us when we were on the playground. I remember this one kid who was the mischief maker of my third grade class, Garrett. When the dog started barking one time, he yelled at the dog, "Shut up, Billy!" Needless to say, overall, I have and have known other people too who have made crude comments, off-color comments, said suggestive things, said the darndest things, etc., etc. So I guess the moral of this episode could be something along the lines of what qualifies as crude, suggestive, off-color, or the darndest things is subjective. The way society decides what's right or wrong, what is frowned upon or not frowned upon, is the same thing as us, the people, deciding what's off-color or not. And that's all I have to say about that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this discussion topic. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button for more upcoming content, which will be amazing. You won't want to miss it? Alright. Keep it real. Peace out.